Hello, this is Jessica Simpson Taylor. We're back again with our Small Business Spotlight, celebrating our 1-year anniversary of Small Business Diet Plan. Today with us, we have Courtenay Christian, and she is with the sewing studio called Threaded from Heaven. Hi, Courtenay.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to have you with us today. When I found your sewing studio a few years ago, it really brought back a lot of fond memories for me of home ec classes and my mom teaching me how to sew. Really, she taught me more how to use a seam ripper, but it did bring back a lot of fond memories. Even my mom buying my first sewing machine, which I still have today. So I'm so very happy that you were able to join us today. Can you tell us about Threaded from Heaven?
I sure can, and thank you so very much for having me, and congratulations on you making a year. So Threaded from Heaven is I like to think of it as a place where community can come for kids of all ages. I've got from age 5 to adults. I have teens coming to sew. And again, adults do sew and we have a great time. I have different events, birthdays, Girl Scouts, basically, like you said, when you have your own business, you have to think a little bit outside the box, but don't overcommit. So I offer a lot, but I basically try to think of myself super organized with scheduling so that this way I have no conflicts. And what we do here is I have different classes, different levels, and we teach people how to sew. And I always express creativity, and that sewing also, not only is it a skill to have, which a lot of my students have developed businesses from this skill, but it's also, it builds your self-confidence, your self-esteem, your motor skills. So it's just really, to me, like a great skill to have. It even helps you with mechanic fixing things, because if your sewing machine breaks, you need to fix it.
To the repair shop.
Yeah, so we kind of do everything. Yeah,
That's what I do.
It's a lot of fun for adults. Of course, we have beginner classes, and then we move up to skill builder classes, which is reinforcing the beginning part that you've learned as far as sewing. And then I also have a fashion school. So where once you've gotten all your skills under and you're like, okay, now I want to really try something different, or try a pro to make something that's more challenging, I have that level. So it's different levels for adults. I have a separate class for teenagers, like high school level, that meets on Saturday. And I kind of call it the teen sewing lab. So this way teens can be with teens. And like I said, it's more high school level. They still do beginner, and they do different projects that they can finish within that 1 month. I do an after school program. Well, I shouldn't call it after school because it only meets 1 hour once a week. But it's a lot of fun. A lot of elementary and middle school kids come together. It's a curriculum, so they make different projects throughout the year. It's a lot of fun. They learn a lot. They bond, they make friends. It's really a cool gathering. That's what I kind of like trying to have, is like a cool gathering setting for them. Fairly new class, I call it Little Stitchers. It's for kids 5 to 7, and they learn to sew with needle and thread.
Oh, okay.
So they make some cool projects that way as well.
Wow, you've made a lot of fun activities for all the students at all ages. So what made you start Threaded from Heaven?
Oh, I will say I'm not new to being an entrepreneur or having my own business. So I've worked corporate for a while, and I've taken breaks in between. So I've had a gift boutique or a gift shop at one point in Lawrenceville, and that got hit with 9/11. So I closed that down and went back to corporate, working for a while. I had a family, of course, regrouped, and I started sewing in the beginning, making dolls, DOLLS, cloth dolls. And those did very well. I was selling them in New York and gift stores and different things like that. And I was in the fabric stores a whole lot. And while I was in, I like to talk. So while I'm in store waiting online, people would pick up stuff. I'm like, oh, you don't need that with this. I was telling them what they needed to purchase if they were stuck. And then someone approached me and said, hey, you seem like you know a lot about fabric, you know a lot about this. Why don't, have you ever thought about teaching? And that's really how I got started teaching. And I said, no, I haven't, but I'll give it a try. And I really, really liked it. And it just grew.
It sounds like you've had to pivot a lot with what type of business you wanted to be in, what made sense based on your family, the economy. Tell us about some of the obstacles over your years of being an entrepreneur and how you've overcome them.
Well, you know what, in life, there's obstacles. And I know COVID really whammy because it was totally different than anything we've all had to face. But, you know, we had 9/11, which had a big impact on my business at the time. And I had to close the doors. And that was very difficult. I didn't want to, but it was very difficult. So I liked what I did. So what I realized is that if you have a passion for something, I'm not saying if it's basically one of those things is if you have a passion, but then you have to look at it and say, okay, can this passion make money? And my background is accounting, so I always think numbers first. And I also have a creative side, and it's just thinking out the box, outside the box. And really, when that business went under, yes, I was sad, I was down, and all of that. And then I said, okay, let's see how I can regroup. So I went online and started selling on Etsy. Did that for a while. And then, like I said, another opportunity opened up and I was helping people anyway, because that is my nature, and said, why not teach? A lot of people want to do businesses, and I enjoy teaching sewing, and it gives so much when you start looking at what sewing really does. So I decided to teach. So I started teaching originally out of Joann's as an instructor there for about 3 years. And then I left there and I went and taught out of Hobby Lobby. And when I watched the trend of how it was growing, I did a satellite off. So before I was in this studio, I tested out my business plan in a satellite. So what I did is I took an office, I rented a regular office and made it look like a studio. So if you look at my very beginning Instagram pictures, it looks like I'm in my house, but I'm not. I actually rented a room, made it look like a studio, and taught from there. And then when I outgrew that space, I was like, okay, it's like stepping out on faith, because where I moved here was a lot more expensive, a lot more responsibility. It's a retail space. It's a totally different animal. So when I moved in here, you step out on faith, but then you're like, okay, now I got to make sure I have enough money coming in to cover all the overhead, and your creativity flows. So I am a person that keeps notebooks. So I have a notebook of dreams, things that I just would like to do. And then I have another notebook where I just have of ideas. So I can be asleep and I never stop thinking, it seems like, and an idea pops up, I write it in. And that's just how I keep those new ideas. And this way, if I'm not there yet, like I pictured having Girl Scout troops come. Okay, because I used to be a Girl Scout leader, and I'm like, that'd be a great thing for kids to do. Okay, so eventually, guess what? I'm able to have Girl Scout troops come. Right. My next thing is to do birthday parties. So you just have to always have something to strive for. Therefore, if situations change, you're ready to change with it. Absolutely. So with COVID, I'll say really quick, with COVID, I had a decision to make also. I had to close because everyone had to. But was I going to close permanently, or was I going to try and fight for what my for my dream? I decided to fight. So because I sew, I immediately got on Facebook and started pushing avenues social media wise. I sold, I first started because I thought it was going to be temporary. I got connected with different organizations and I was sewing masks to donate to the hospitals.
Mhm.
Then once I realized, oh, this is going to be a while, I need to make some money. I started selling a different design, but that's
Right.
what helped me also. And then I went with virtual classes. So you have to be able to adjust quickly.
Yeah, those are all such great points. Having that vision, you've touched on a lot of things that we talked about during our weekly meetups in 2020. And the first is vision, always having your vision in front of you, how our visions for our business change based on what we have continually realized in success, right? So the bigger your dream becomes bigger once you've realized some of the previous dreams you had. And then secondly, I think the biggest misconception is that people think motivation comes to make you start living your dream. But motivation comes once you start, once you're making movement. We always say inches count too. It's not just the pounds, but those inches count. So all of that keeps us motivated. And you just told us some great stories and great testimony to inspire a lot of people that pivoting is essential to business. The change is inevitable. And if we want a successful business, we do have to learn to pivot. We have to change. You changed from a total different business, but found success in both. And that's an awesome thing to share. So thank you so very much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So one of the other things we've talked a lot about is that our success as small business owners helps us also help our community. Do you partner with any organizations within the community?
Yes, I do, because community is super important to, I feel, any business. And I'm big on community because I think, number one, I wouldn't be here without community. So I want to make sure that the community knows I'm here, knows about the services I offer, and also know that I care about community. So I've partnered with the Gwinnett school system. I'm on their advisory board at the high school. I'm involved with an internship program for high school students. I want to make sure that there's a lot out there that we as small businesses can offer youth. And if there's an opportunity that can help, because they're going to be our future, I think it's great to be able to give back to them. So that's my avenues of being available, being accessible to the schools when they're asking us this, about how businesses are going or how entrepreneurs grow their businesses, being that little light in the community. That's also part of my brand, is being a light in the community, one stitch at a time. So I do like to do that. I'm hoping to be more involved, but right now, of course, I got to take baby steps, because as I grow, I'm one person and I can only do so much. But being involved with the school is to me, it's making a difference. The kids that I see come in that are able to do an internship, and they're helping me and I'm helping them. So it's giving back.
Oh, that's wonderful that you're offering internships to the high school. So in talking about community, tell us where you're located.
Oh, that is very important. I am located, so I'm Suwanee, Georgia, so I'm north of Atlanta. I'm located off of Lawrenceville, Suwanee Road. So the right now I'm right next to Suwanee Town Center Park. And it's we're not that far from Atlanta. I'm about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, depending on traffic. But it's nice where even if someone has to drive out, you can come have lunch. There's lots of businesses across the street. So it's a great kind of mix if you do come out, and for some people that do drive a distance, they can make a day out of it.
Oh, nice.
Every summer, I do a summer camp for kids, and we have a great program. that is already up on the website that you can sign up for. And what makes my camp a little different, I call it a specialty camp, because the kids do know how to learn. They learn how to sew during that week, and they sew some great projects. It's just great.
And you're not biased at all.
Yes. But it really is.
It is, yes.
Yeah, it's a great, as you can tell, and that's the thing is like what you do. That's the main thing, is really have that passion, because that's what makes you be innovative and be able to switch. And also, just as businesses like we're doing here, is when you kind of connect with like minds, then that creativity starts flowing and the ideas start flowing, and you're able to figure out how to stay above.
So how can we contact you if we have some viewers that want to maybe take a class? How can we contact you?
The name of the business again is Threaded from Heaven, and the website is threadedfromheaven.com. On Instagram and Facebook, everything you can find me under Threaded from Heaven. Also, our phone number is 678-765-0791. The website has a full class listing of all classes being offered. If you don't see something, please call me. Don't give up. I think that there is a need for a lot of things. Find your niche. And sometimes we have to adjust our niche. But if this is really your passion, I think that's the biggest thing, is a lot of people get an idea of a business and might not be successful, or it might be successful, but you still always have to change, whether there's COVID, whether there's anything. It's just, that's the beast of being an entrepreneur. You have to roll with the changes and be able to change. So as long as you do that, I think you'll be okay.
All right. Well, thank you so very much. You've really shared some wonderful insights with us today. I think you've given us some really valuable lessons through your experience that all of us as small business owners can put to use right away. So thank you so very much. Again, this is Courtenay Christian from Threaded from Heaven. And thank you so much for being one of our business spotlights this week.
Thank you so much for having me, and congratulations for you making a year.
Thank you. Have a great day.